sees A Wrinkle in Time once. Hi everyone, my name is Tamara Chambers, and this is Tamara Just Saw. And last night, I went and saw A Wrinkle in Time. Oh, do you see them? Right on the horizon. Unpopular opinions. Can you see them? They're mine. I wrote a lot of notes for this in the theater, just scrambling things down. But the first one was glitter brows. Make glitter brows for the episode. So the most important thing happened at least. I grew up with the book and I remember reading it in school and being like, oh my gosh, I actually liked that. It was like an assigned book that I actually cared about and actually read all the way through, and I really enjoyed it. I was very excited to see it adapted, though I don't think that all books necessarily need a screen adaptation, but I was excited. I was on board for this. Then I saw the cast and the director, and I was very on board for it, and I really enjoyed it. Watching it felt so special. Felt like they were doing something in some aspects that you just don't get. I mean, it just all comes down to the diversity in this film was just really special to watch. There were some problems, for sure. Some of the costuming choices and some of just the practical places they filmed, I think New Zealand, it just looked so beautiful. There were, though, some weird, wonky, odd, awkward special effects. And, you know, it was kind of hard to miss those moments for sure. I love the people in this film, and the kids were really cute, though they were a little awkward for me. I wish that the younger brother, Charles, what was his name? Manson? I forget. I just wish that he had been cast differently. He was not good. In general, the kids didn't react to things like I feel like I was reacting to them in the theater, like watching these things happen, like seeing the three women show up, Reese Witherspoon and Mindy and Oprah, in their backyard, and the girl is just kind of like, that's interesting. Okay. That's not the word I would use. Just like no one was reacting really the way that I thought. But those were my problems. I thought the acting was a little awkward, some of the dialogue a little awkward, and some weird CGI things. But I left it with so much more than I thought I was going to leave it with, and it felt so important, and it was beautiful, and some really touching moments happened with the family, even though the acting wasn't stellar. The parents, I love both of those actors. Chris Pine, favorite of all the Chris's. And the wife too, I love her so much. And some of the family moments that they had were really beautiful, really well put together and touching, and I cried for sure. I think though, the biggest thing that this film is gonna suffer from is hype. Because you make a film with a very diverse cast, and it gets a lot of hype because of that, because there's not a lot of those films, and then if it's not perfect, people just really harp on it. I think that this is a film that kids can see. I was watching it and I would critique something in my mind, and then I'd be like, oh right, this is a movie for kids. This is meant for all ages, of course, but especially children. Chris Pine disappears, and it's the family kind of picking up the pieces, trying to live their lives, try to find out where he went, but overall just kind of move on because it's been 4 years. And he disappeared in a science experiment, which is a fun plot to go off of, and you find out through these three amazing characters, Reese Witherspoon, Oprah, and Mindy Kaling, that he has, like, time hopped. I forget what they call it in this. Termuggled. I forget. Mindy's first scene and Reese Witherspoon's first scene were just a bit wonky, a bit weird. I didn't think that Reese Witherspoon's comedy that she had written in really landed. Same with Mindy. I think they're both really wonderful actresses, but like there's a few times where Mindy said, there was one where she speaks in quotes from different people, and one of the quotes was just "damn," and it didn't really play well, and I see what they were going for. I see how it could have worked, but it just, I don't know. I don't think they got the right take, and then they used it, and it was a little weird. Then Oprah shows up, giant billboard-sized Oprah, which I'm all about. The weirdest thing is the boy, who's just kind of like along for the ride. He shows up, he has a crush on the lead character, and he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm down for this, I'll do this, cool. And like doesn't really react to anything, which is so odd to me because a lot of crazy things are happening. But then I realized, I mean, maybe that's just, they're going for childhood innocence. Maybe he's just like, everything's possible. So yeah, I will say yes and to this and go along with it. Maybe it didn't read super well for me. I wrote this about the kids, the lead and the awkward boy. It's like, imagine finding your soulmate in middle school. Can you imagine that? I read 357 books my 7th grade year, and I read 392 books my 8th grade year. So I for sure had friends. Definitely wasn't meeting any soulmates. Though I did have my first boyfriend in junior high, and we held hands and I felt very uncomfortable, so I broke up with him. It's just a self-help movie, I feel like. I feel like this entire film is just a giant self-help film where you watch it and you take things and you learn lessons, and it's just very like, oh, I feel good now. That's what this film is. Oprah says, do you realize the amount of events and occurrences that had to occur to lead to the making of you just the way you are? And it was beautiful. It was just so good. I loved it because it's full of people that I want to see on screen more. It's a woman taking the lead in a film that's not a chick flick. And you know, we are getting more of those now, and it's really fun. Like Wonder Woman is I just sat there with my jaw open for the whole time. This is one that's geared towards children, and I think that's so flipping cool and so important to have. It's just a big adventure that they go on to find the father, and the girl is leading around the guy, and the guy's kind of following, and he trips and he messes things up, and she has to take care of him, and the gender swapping of that is really exciting. Where you usually get the girl who's like following around and is like a nuisance kind of, and it's nice. It's fun to see that. It's nice to have both of those options. You know what I mean? It's exciting. At the end of the day, this is a really cool book that I loved growing up. It's about a mixed family with an adopted son and a daughter, and it's full of love and science and adventure, and it's an awesome kids film. It's because of the hype, but I feel like people are criticizing this like it's the next, like, I don't know, Citizen Kane, which I've not seen. It's a really kick-ass, like, quirky, sometimes awkward kids movie. I loved it. It was good. It taught you a lesson. There weren't fart jokes in it. Yes. I wrote, if you don't like this, I understand. There were some weird moments. I don't think a lot of people are gonna like this. I don't know that like the Walker brothers, I don't think they're gonna love this film. And I think I completely understand. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what they're gonna like. Jeez. I wasn't like coming for him. I'm just saying, I don't think a lot of reviewers are going to like that movie is what I should say. And I understand why. There were some weird things happening and some weird moments, just odd CGI and weird story stuff. And for a movie to have so many problems and for it to still impact me so much, I think that means that it's an important film, especially for children. Like I said, it's just a giant self-help movie. I will watch this again when I'm feeling sad. I loved it. I also think it's really cool for fans of the book. I got this message from my dad last night, and it was after I saw the film, and it just made me smile so much. He said, so when I was in the 5th/6th grade, I didn't really like reading, but one day I checked out a book from the library titled A Wrinkle in Time. It was the first book I ever read cover to cover, and I loved it. They made a movie about it, and it wasn't good at all, but this one looks like they actually read the book and made the movie. Can't wait to see it. I just think that's so cool. I'm curious to see what people who loved the book think. I'm curious to see how kids react to this. I'm curious to see what this movie does, how it does in like 10 years. Is this gonna be something that like people who are kids now are going to be like, I loved that film? Or is it just gonna disappear into the nothingness of space like all bad movies do? I loved it. I recommend seeing it, and I hope that you can find something good to take out of it as well. I know there's problems. I know that. But I still really enjoyed it. So I recommend seeing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.